This is a complete CRUD app for the classic Northwind dataset. Full create, read, update, delete. I've added 5 entities. Everything here is living in a SQLite database, but it doesn't matter. It can be PostgreSQL Server, etc. I'm using Ignite UI for React on the front end and a .NET Core backend. In the next few minutes, I'll show you what it looks like, what the code looks like, and why the React Data Grid is really doing 80% of the work. So this is the home page, and you can see I have my data grid here on the right as I select items in the list, which, by the way, is another Ignite UI component called the card view. As I click items, the data on the grid is updated. If I want to look at a specific set of orders for a salesperson, I can just say open in orders, and I'm brought to the order screen. We'll talk about this in a second. However, if I look at customers, you'll notice this is all grid. Products has some column summaries and a grouped header. So under inventory, we have unit price and stock, and then I'm showing the minimum, the max, and the average, which is key data that I do need to understand where we're at with product. And then on shippers, we just have the shipper information. So if I go back to orders, what I want to highlight is how you can do CRUD in the grid itself. So you'll notice as I hover, we have a row action at the end with an edit and a delete button. If I click the delete button, I'm prompted to delete an order. I don't want to delete anything here, so I'll leave it as is. When I click edit, I'm doing data entry directly inside of the grid. So you'll see I have a drop down here for the different types of shippers. If I select FedEx, that's great. I jump to a date time field. I can modify the date just by selecting from the dropdown. And if I'm done updating everything, I can just click done. You'll see my toast pops up at the bottom and it says order 23 was saved. To enter edit mode, I can also double click. I can do typing with full autocomplete. And when I hit enter, it will automatically send those updates. So the grid behavior, and in this case, I did not want to update salesperson, product, or unit price. These items for an order can be updated. I'm controlling this all through the data grid. I don't have to create custom edit forms, even though I can. And in the Ignite UI for React Data Grid, you can add new rows, you can update existing rows, and obviously delete rows. You can also do batch updates to the server. If I jump over to customers and we double click here, you'll see that I can actually change different rows. So I'll hit the tab key. Let's go ahead and spell Montreal correctly. Hitting tab, just like I would in an Excel file. I'm going to hit the enter key. That updated that row in the database. So all of this full CRUD experience is built into the grid, and you're just tying in APIs to those row actions. If I jump over to products, I won't change anything here, but on shippers, I do want to highlight that you'll notice the row action is visible. And when I click the edit button, it's actually prompting a dialog to appear. So in the other grids, I was showing that I activate the row to edit individual cells or a double click or an enter key. Here you can customize what those actions are to actually do CRUD this way. It's completely up to you, the type of experience that you want to deliver in your application. Another nice feature of Ignite UI is our built-in theme. So my current application is using the Indigo Light theme. If I go to Material Light, you can see that now I have different fore colors, back colors. The application just looks a little bit different. If I go to Material Dark, beautiful Material Dark theme. If I go to Fluent, again, different sizing of things like the row heights. If we look at the overflow for the Excel style filter dropdown, you can see that looks a little bit different. The buttons look different. And if we look at Fluent Dark, just again, another really beautiful looking theme that you can apply. The design tokens for the Ignite UI design system are very simple. You can create your own custom themes. I happen to use some of the built-in themes for my application. If I jump over to my Swagger UI, this is my endpoint. You can see I've got a get customers and then of course the post, get, put, delete. And I have that for each one of my tables. It has all the referential integrity included. So the application is a full CRUD experience that you would deliver in your app. So if I edit this guy and let's change it to Federal Express and we'll save our changes and we go back to orders, we'll see that Federal Express is the shipper. So it's just using that value from the table. If I minimize this and we look at the code, I want to highlight the IGR grid. This is the React Data Grid. I'm using it on all of the pages in this application. You'll see that I'm binding to my SQL data. My primary key is the order ID. I don't want to auto-generate columns. I'm actually specifying each column. I have different options here on how I want the grid set up, like allow filtering, filter mode, Excel style filter, row selection, etc. But the key here is our on row selection changing, on row edit done. We'll scroll down, on row delete. These are all tied into my web API. So when the edit is done, when you hit enter or you click the update button, we're actually getting the cell values and we're passing them to our order service. Our order service is simply calling our orders API, in this case, the put, or it could be the delete. So very simple to implement this. The grid is actually doing all of the hard work. You use the built-in functions of the grid in conjunction with or without the row action. Now, if we scroll down, and let's go past all of our column definitions. You can see that I do have a select for that list of shippers in the grid, but we'll keep passing all of this up all the way down to our IGR action strip. And you can see that I told it not to use the add row, just to enable the editing actions, which are going to be edit and delete. Add row is false, and that's how I get that nice little hover toolbar on the end of my grid. If I minimize this and we look at the app again, some other features that you would expect in an enterprise style app. I have my pager on the bottom. You can set your page size here or in code. This obviously includes search. So if I want to search orders, order number 23, we have full grid search. So you can do a full text search on the grid, or you can use the Excel style filter, which allows you to go to any column where you have the overflow. You'll see the Excel style filter, and this shows just the data that I have filtered. I'm going to go ahead and select all, apply that back. If I go to product and I want to do an advanced search like equals, I can do an equal value. I can have and or groups with different selects, so very rich filtering. And this is going to give you the specific option based on the type of the column. So if I go to order date, you'll see there I have a date filter versus a text field, which would give me just those text values. And of course, I can pin columns to the right or left. I can move columns. I can persist all of this. So the next time the user logs in, they'll see exactly this. So in a few lines of code, using the power of the grid, I'm able to deliver an enterprise experience with full CRUD in React with Ignite UI, including the Ignite UI MCP servers and AI skills to help build out this application in GitHub Copilot and Claude Code.